At age 13, you actually built your first software company.
Yeah, it takes time. I've done a lot of things, and I would say this one worked better than the others.
Yep, that's good. Well, tell us a little about at age 13, getting interested in software and doing it. Many of our audience here in the United States and internationally, they are entrepreneurs, maybe not as young as you, but they're looking for that first point and they're building their business or they're in a business. And it's always interesting to them to see the path that other entrepreneurs have been on. Why don't you tell us about 13 years old, starting that company, and then the steps that led you to launching Tiny ERP, which became Odoo, correct?
Yes. So basically, I'm a developer, a software developer, and I love to develop things and develop useful things. So I develop a lot of different services, e-commerce, antivirus, virus, lots of different tools for different clients, and this ERP software. And at some point, I decided to stop everything I was doing and refocus on Odoo. But I get to that point of doing a lot of things and have one that gets better than the others.
That's good. So what's interesting is a lot of times people go through the difficult early stage. What was difficult in the early days, early time of Odoo, and what did you have to personally learn or do to get the company through that?
Over the past 20 years, I think I've had 8 years close to bankruptcy. So the difficulty has always been the cash because we bootstrapped the company. I didn't raise a lot of money. I raised my first round when I was 100 employees. So it was very hard to develop the software and serve the client at the same time to get the money and so on. So it was all about working hard, long days, and surviving. Sometimes we were doing projects that were not profitable just for the cash. But by doing that, we always did it with a vision. We always had this vision of making enterprise management software, business applications affordable and accessible to SMEs. So even though we didn't went straight and we had to do things just because we had to survive, we always thought about this vision that we have today, which is fully integrated management software and affordable.
Yep. You've mentioned vision a couple times. Is that how you keep your team together when you went through times where you're very close to bankruptcy, which is not unusual? So many people that watch the podcast have talked about, during COVID, I almost went bankrupt, but I just hung on. And now after COVID, thank goodness I am able to go again. How do you keep your folks focused when you're close to bankruptcy and maybe they are getting nervous and want to find a different job?
Yes, what's very important for me is to be transparent. You know, when things goes wrong, everyone starts to get scared and things like that. If you, as a CEO, start to make them believe that everything's right, don't worry, there is no issue, because we are optimistic. So as entrepreneur, we always want to. The team will notice that there is issue. They will notice that you are not well and things like that, and so they won't trust you anymore if you bullshit them and don't tell the truth. So what I learned is that it's super important to be transparent, explain what are the difficulties, explain what's the plan. And in the past, when we were very close to bankruptcy, I even showed them graphs with the turnover of revenue and the cash of Odoo that was going down and down and down up to a point where we are close to zero. And I was telling them, okay, here is where we are, but here is the plan. Here is what we'll do. It's going to be hard. We'll have to work hard, but we'll do it together and we will make it. And when you are transparent, when I explained that to the employee, even though there was a very big risk for them, everyone stayed in the company and helped us improve.
So even though there's a big risk, at that moment, you know who is on the team and shares the vision and the risk is acceptable.
You cannot build big things without bigger risk. They goes together. So what we wanted to do is huge. We grew fast, very fast. So obviously there is risk attached to that. It's just that you need to know where you go. You need to know how to execute. Sometimes you have to do difficult decisions, like letting some people go. But yeah, it's always very important to always have the big picture and be sure that everyone is aligned on this big picture.
Yep. You know, you cannot do big things without risk. That is so true.